unsurprisingly, the next step that the progressive media took that was covering for him. Well, what do you think they did? What do you think, Ben? Do you think that they admitted that they were wrong, fessed up for having gotten behind this Nazi, or are they trying to rewrite history? What do you think? What does your gut tell you?
We're trying to rewrite history.
And that's what I want to show you because it is just so ridiculous.
Okay, just a quick question. How about like Sam Cedar? What is he saying
Oh
about it?
yeah. Well, once again, we're not going to be like Sam. Somehow he escapes our clutches again. We're going to be talking about Emma Vigeland, his little co-host.
Wait,
So
so Sam Cedar didn't have anything to say about it?
he didn't host the show, but you want to just get right into it? Do we just get right into it?
Of course.
Let's do it. I want to show you a segment that they did with someone who called in, and we're going to
All
see
right,
if we can spot the lie in that video.
So
All
just
right.
the first thing, you guys are doing a really good job covering the story. Obviously, like being a fan of the show and a fan of y'all, because
So right there, because I do want to just kind of get into the psychology of Sam Cedar's audience. So even after everything that happened, after they were clearly led astray, right? They still think that they're doing a great job covering Plattner. They don't think, oh, well, maybe the fact that all this happened under our noses is a sign that you've done a terrible job of reporting on this. No, no, no. It's not that. It's not that.
But again, because I like to play devil's advocate, it's still a win. It's still justice. It's still showing the humanity of America. They are rescinding. They're not saying, "Oh, just because this guy promotes liberal values, we're still going to support him."
But what about
So
that? What about the part of how they're trying to position themselves? All I'm trying to point to is that at the end of the day, a viewer of this program, of Sam Cedar's show, can walk away thinking that this was somehow good reporting. It was clearly bad reporting on Plattner because how did you get it so wrong? But, as he says, he's a huge fan, and somehow, because of a way that they spin these stories, a way that they never take accountability, he's going to keep thinking that they've done a great job. Look, you can feel however you want to feel about what it means that the party walked away from Plattner, but I
exactly.
just want to focus on the media, like because they're separate from America's whatever, right? But let's talk about,
But
that.
again, it gets down to the point of what is at the heart of these people. Is it a matter of ignorance and they just really believe Grant Platter was a good guy? Or was it truly just them being these
The
selfish,
caller, the caller is a good person. I mean, I don't mean to allege anything of her. Of course, the caller is just a decent guy who wants the best life for himself. I mean, almost certainly. I mean, obviously I don't know,
okay.
but that's
But what do
most
you
certainly. But Emma, Emma Vigeland,
yeah.
the woman that we're talking about here, she isn't. I mean, but let's let the evidence show that.
All
You
right,
know.
let's see it.
and being a fan of Graham and more than just like his policies, but just this ability to see somebody, a working class person, and have a redemption arc
Yeah.
really meant a lot to me. And
So there it is. To see a working class person have a redemption arc, it meant a lot to him. So the
That's
only
sad.
reason he believes that is because people like this have been telling him that. They've been lying to his face. So he has this emotional connection with a man who was born a multimillionaire, born the grandson of one of the world's most famous architects, literally someone who, when he got back from the war, did not have to worry about money. His whole oyster farm was subsidized by his mom. And, all of this is just a lie. He was handpicked by a fight agency to
Yeah, that's
run.
sad.
And
That
then
is
these people came in and helped them bring forward this false identity. And they would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for...
meddling
Yeah, they would have
kids.
got away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids. For those meddling American kids. They were going to get away with it if it was just those meddling Iraqi and Afghanistan kids.
Yeah, if only he had just stuck with the brown people.
Plattner, why didn't you stick with the brown people? We told you, we asked you 100 times. Are you sure it was only brown people? Yes. Did you get a good look at them? Was there light? Was there light off their bodies so you could be sure they weren't pale? Yes. Okay. I mean, he said it multiple times. So I guess you can only blame yourself when it comes down to it. No, but honestly, I mean,
America.
so this person has a false. I am sympathetic to the idea that like people, even Americans, right, are good people and they want what's best for maybe even everyone. But if that's true, what the obstacle is, it's the media. And so then when we break it down step by step, and let's listen to it again, how is it that this guy gets such a false image of Plattner?
And more than just like his policies, but just this ability to see somebody, a working class person, and have a redemption arc.
Actually, I'm sorry, I need to go. So
like,
is he saying...
and being a fan of Graham, and more than just like his policies, but...
Wow, so even more than his policies, it was the false persona that shows like Majority Report had given him.
They thought he was this hard-working, just soldier,
killing for a living, not just for fun. I thought he was killing for a living, not just for pleasure. That changes everything. Okay. Is she crying? Is she literally sick over this news? Like, my God. Okay.
Maybe she just genuinely loved Grant.
Okay. You know, I mean, sure, there could be a level of just pure stupidity here, but it's a willful stupidity, and it's one that does have an aspect that is silently manipulative. And we'll keep showing that. We're gonna keep showing that.
No, but it could be like a level of stupidity, like in the sense of a Hunger Games. You know that one character who kind of is like all gung-ho about the Hunger Games, and she's like excited and positive about it, and she's like so oblivious and ignorant to the fact that people are dying, and it's like the survival game or whatever.
Sure.
Maybe in reality, this girl feels the same way.
But I think that the point of characters like that is to show you that, like, it doesn't matter if it's naivete or not, right? Like, what does it even matter? That's just aesthetic. Like, on a personal level, it is an identity point for that person. But when you think about the sort of systems analysis, who cares? Like, if you're causing harm, it's harm. And then, like, what? I have a hard time just with the way that I think about things.
You're right in the sense of it's still evil. But...
Especially when you have, here's the thing. Here's what it really comes down to. It's like a police officer. If you are tasked with keeping the peace, you have an outsized responsibility, right? She's a media member. So if she's stupid or not, I really could care less because it's your job to portray things honestly. You know, we're just talking here. This is just a conversation that we edit to try to make it interesting. This person pretends and postures as a journalist. So it just feels so wrong to me that, you know, as we just shown, she said that she feels disturbed as her role as a woman. It's like, this is not about you being a woman. This is about you being someone who in the media tricked people like your caller into thinking that Plattner was a working class hero when he wasn't, when he never was that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I just look at it differently. The thing is, I look at it more like she was just this, you know, she was just trying her best. She was just trying to do, you know, what she believed was right. And then when something really came into her light of justice and was like, oh, this is not right. And she was able to sort of have that revelation and then sort of mature and evolve and be like, oh, snap, I made a mistake in defending this guy.
Yeah, maybe. But if so, it's because she's an American chauvinist, which is something that we're going to keep let's keep getting into it. We'll keep getting into it.
And growing up with privilege I hadn't yet recognized, seeing this like redemption arc was such a beautiful thing. And seeing him, you know, lie and do and say what he said about essentially just ruining our trust really shook me to the core. And you guys even being like strong enough to open up the phones today is just another reminder that like our principles and our core are what drives us, and it's important to keep that in mind moving forward. And just a quick,
but I mean, that's all just a lie. I mean, come on, I feel like I can't even really show this to any effect if you're gonna buy this bullshit. I mean, like, the whole reason, like, he says it right there. He gives up the game. Oh yeah, you guys are brave enough to keep the lines open on a day like today. It's like, no, they are a cult, and they know that everything is gonna get filtered through how the supreme leader could never be wrong. Right, so even when someone calls in, they're still going to be reporting the same lies that just got debunked. That he's a working class hero.
We don't know that. Let's hear her response. Let's hear what she has to say.
Okay. Let's see what she says. But just to recap, the caller thinks Grant Plattner is still a working class guy, and he thinks that they're brave for keeping the lines open, even though he doesn't know that he's still being lied to. That's where we're at right now.
That's where we're at. I want to hear.
Let's see if she fixes that.
She did the right thing, and I think anyone going after her character is despicable. And I don't want to focus too much on negative and name calling, but I just really think one of the other callers mentioned her, and I thought it was important to highlight that.
Yeah, thank you, caller. I needed to hear that a little bit because, it's just like the role of like new left media right now, we're so underfunded compared to some of these other like outsized outlets, and we're doing our best, but we're having an impact, right? Like, I mean, Hassan is going across the country. Hassan's on a different level, but like,
no, that's what
that is the I feel that weight, even though we don't have the infrastructure that would kind of support that, and that's part of the guilt that I'm feeling, of course. And I know that like hindsight's 2020, but I'm constantly trying to be better at what I'm doing here and communicating information to you guys. And I'm still young, I'm still learning, but I bought into that redemption too, and there was something beautiful about that message that like hit me in my heart, and also I think is like, how the Democrats talk about like winning back straight white males and stuff, and it just that was intoxicating to think about. Like, perhaps you'd said some things that you regret, or racist or misogynistic things, and there's a path forward for you. There's no path forward for the Democrats and to fight fascism without allowing some redemption for people. Rape, we're not talking about that, okay? And especially if you're not running for public office. But about like comments and the censoriousness and the cancellation and all, I mean, we're done with that at this point. We have to give people...
And Nazi tattoos, which they wanted to cover for.
But her answer was pretty heartfelt. How do you not feel a little bit like sympathy for her? She's like, she even said like she's also learning. She's in this game. She's just trying. She brought it. You think it's all lies?
Oh my god. He's having a hard. Okay, and I guess I should just try to respond sincerely. It was nothing but like excuses. I mean, I don't know how you can't see that, but it was all just various excuses. She talks about not having infrastructure, as if this was a question of infrastructure, as if like it wasn't about doing a Google search, as if it's not about telling that guy on the phone, hey, by the way, he wasn't working, like, okay, he lost, right? Let's be honest. He wasn't even working class. I mean, the guy grew up a millionaire. No, she says, I'm young, I'm still making, like, what is she even talking? Like, it's complete, it's nonsensical. So it's hard for me to even treat it like, I don't know, like she's just lying out of her ass. She is steeped in all of this, more than you or me are. We've talked about Grant Plattner 8 times. They were talking about him every day for months. So it's like, how could she be making mistakes? I mean, she's just a complete idiot?
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe she doesn't, she's woefully ignorant. Maybe she's just
a complete fool?
Best.
Okay. I mean, maybe.
I think she goes home at night, she's like, fucking idiots. I tricked them all.
Basically.
How you...
More or less. No, I don't think that it has to be that evil. There's a very famous clip of, I think I've shown it to you too, like of Noam Chomsky, where a reporter is like, oh, so you think I'm like manipulated? And he's like, no, I think that if you weren't willing to be who you are, you just wouldn't have your job. So I think that there's a lot of that, like she must believe the stupidity that she says, but
that's what, yeah.
It doesn't make it. I just don't see how that matters. Like I guess there's just a part of my brain that doesn't have any. I just can't even make sense of how that could matter.
But it's like you just said. It's like you just said that willful stupidity actually kind of helps you internally.
Sure, but then why do I have to? What empathy do I need to have towards that? Like
she's a person.
Yeah, but we're talking about an aspect of what she does that is anti-human. Don't have sympathy for these people that make millions of dollars lying. Have sympathy for the caller. Sure, I have sympathy for him living in a world of illusion that she spins for him because he trusts her. He works, right? He probably has a family. He probably has a job. He probably has a whole list of problems in his life that are never going to be resolved because he's not going to ever make as much money as she does. And he trusts her to get the news. And when it came to Graham Plattner, not only did she lie to him, she led him down a path in which he felt emotionally distraught. So all of that was wrong. And then when he finally confronts her, he does it from a place of niceness. And she knows that that's a lie. She must know at this point that Graham Plattner is not working class. So she just is like, okay, that's fine. Continue to live in this world of lies that I spin.
Yeah. Yeah. I see your point, but, I don't know. She's a person. That's how I see it.
Hitler was a person.
Yeah, Hitler.
Every rapist is a person.
And she's not killing people, though.
But the logic that you're implying would also cover Hitler.
No, because you're comparing what Hitler did to what this poor woman did, who was
No,
just
I'm
trying
not.
to.
I'm just saying that to use that logic ever, it would have to cover every human ever, right?
There are some sins or some atrocities that then you can say, okay, you are worthy of hatred. But I don't think this woman crosses that barrier.
Well, that's where we disagree, I guess. Oh yeah, here we're gonna go over Ryan Grimm and how he feels burned by Plattner, and we're gonna find out why he feels so burned.
Well, this is going to be hilarious.
Not
Well, this sucks, right? He's out of a closet, right? He's letting his freak flag fly.
Exactly.
Right? He's getting ready for Fascism Pride Month, which I'm not sure when that was planned. Maybe in November, I guess, after Plattner was supposed to win. And now he's got to go right back into the closet. So.
Right?
it's a flip side of back in the early 2010s and 2000s, when the gay rights movement was gaining steam. What
The Barney Frank argument.
What people discovered, is that you've got a gay uncle. You actually, once people started coming out of the closet.
The Andrew Sullivan argument.
Yeah, once people started coming out of the closet, like, oh, that guy's gay. I love that guy. He's great, and my life is fine around him. This is the reverse for liberals. It's like, this is a white guy, and he's actually pretty nice.
A big burly combat vet.
Big burly combat vet.
Someone
and
you
he's
could
in
see
your
with
family.
Joe Rogan.
Okay, let's see
Burned.
this.
So I get it.
To not respond to that message. To not.
Oh, here, this is a beautiful detail. Here they're actually correct. Graham Plattner is such a scumbag that after he did what he did to this woman where he raped her, she texted him the next day being like, dude, like, what the hell? Like, you raped me yesterday. And he just never responded to her ever again. He just ghosted her forever.
Jesus Christ.
So, like, the
man.
biggest scumbag imaginable. It's let's keep going.
Just sit down and have coffee
Right.
and just hear her. Like, apparently he doesn't remember any of this.
Right.
Then ask her, tell me what happened. Like, let me hear from you what happened. Like, to just completely ignore cuts against this idea that
She's not on birth control, so she's sitting around waiting. Did I get pregnant? And
Yeah.
I mean, that's horrific. I mean, that is
It's-
horrific.
it's not good.
Like-
and relatedly, and I bet he would agree with this. When he moved back to Maine, he starts oystering and he's starting to kind of find his meaning and purpose.
Right.
Guy should have quit drinking.
Right.
Like, and he has talked about his problems with alcohol abuse. The problem with talking about that is that he's still drinking.
Can I say, look, and that's incredible that he still drinks. That is absolutely ridiculous. And on a bigger, broader point, if you're someone who's been getting blacked out drunk in the last 10 years, you should not be running for any public office. And that's someone, I'll say it as someone who enjoys drinking, enjoys binge drinking even on occasion. If you've been blacked out drunk at all in the last 10 years, do not put yourself in a position where people can do background checks on you and vet everyone that's ever met you. That's a very terrible idea. And
That's very-
let me ask you this, Benji. What do you think about the fact that he still drinks?
I mean, honestly, it's sad, really. It's just a sad, pitiful.
How about the
man.
fact that these people knew that he was still a drinker and they were still behind him, still thought that he should be the next senator from Maine?
Yeah, that's. I mean, how would you describe it? Again, I come back to. I asked you this question because for me, the only word that comes to mind is sad.
I would describe. I feel a sort of this is the feeling that is I feel a type of anger towards it. That's why I have no sympathy for any of these people because like it's not that hard to know better. And I wouldn't blame the average person, but these are people who should know at least as well as me, right? So it's just unfortunate that it's hard to explain.
I just wonder. I want to be in their head so bad.
Yeah.
To see when they wake up and they choose to defend this guy who's such a piece of shit. And then just like that, right? Just that sexual assault. There it is. All of a sudden, everything changes.
Well, the story continues. Let's keep it moving. We still haven't heard what bummed him out. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead.
Exactly.
And it's not obvious that it's like under control. Certainly wasn't that night. Like there's absolutely no question about that. To your point about
again, like the crazy thing is that now he's revealing that he's still this drinker and that he's still like, abusing alcohol. But before, it was not a matter. It wasn't an issue.
Yeah, I
You
know.
know?
I know.
So
No, I agree.
is it just that they're just like we're fucking evil and we're just evil people and that's just
Yeah.
who we are? Is it that?
Well, they were willing to cover for him, clearly. And so what's interesting is that we're gonna show that after this is from 2 days ago. Yesterday, they covered the reporters that dropped this story about Graham Plattner the other day. The one, this story that got him to drop out. They had some questions about the credibility of the reporting, which I thought was very rich, given that for months they've been lying to their audience about Graham Plattner. But we're going to get into that. So this is from 2 days ago. This is when they were really licking their wounds. All of them were like, "Ah, shit, we got behind a baddie," and they were actually showing something that someone might miss. They were actually acting in a way that you might misinterpret as humility. But really, it was just like the shadow self took over for a moment. They were weak. They came back today stronger than ever. And that's what we're going to show more in this second part here, which is, this is when they were licking their wounds. They had tissues in hand.
No idea.
They were, Ryan Grimm accidentally tells the truth. He reveals, if you think about it, and this is why I will admit that Breaking Points is more honest. I don't know why. Maybe because they wear suits. I honestly don't know why. But there is this aspect of it where they tell you more of the truth. Because why would you even admit that? Why would you, as Ryan Grimm, admit that Plattner's drinking was never under control, and that even now you never got from him any credible proof that he got his drinking under control? Even though you've interviewed him, you've used drop site news to defend him, right? So, but they will at least tell you that. And you want to know something? That's why I respect them more, because Emma Vigeland is trying to get fake sympathy from people like you and me. That's what I don't like about that show, and I don't like about her.
Hurts. I fell for it then. I felt sympathy for her.
Well, listen, you can feel, who knows? Who knows? All I know is that she is a wizard of lies, honestly.
A wizard of lies.
Let's see. Let's keep going here.
When those people started dropping, it's one thing when the politicians leave you, because they have their own self-preservation to think.
They hate him
about.
anyway. They hated him anyways.
Well, yes, that's true, but not all of them.
Yeah.
In the ones that liked him, have their own interests as well. The volunteers who were just there for him and his movement, more particularly the movement and the message that he's delivering, they were dropping very quickly. We can put this next element. It's A6. This is from Nathan Bernard, drop site reporter who's been covering the race for us.
This is interesting. Here he's going to show how in the immediate aftermath of what happened, Graham Plattner's volunteers, some of the people that were like most closely associated to the real like grassroots aspect of the campaign, they, for the most part, did not support Plattner, and they did not try to sort of apologize away these accusations. But I don't think that that's the type of like excuse that Ryan Grimm thinks that it is, because really that just shows that in reality they were the ones that were always the most behind him. That his own supporters were like, look, we just want healthcare.
Exactly.
Okay, so now let's get into what they were reporting on more recently, now that they feel like once again they're free to dunk on the traditional media. That is what it comes down to. Now what they're trying to say is that Politico, who dropped the story, and Jake Tapper, who did the interview with the survivor, that this was a rush job and that they were omitting key details. It's like, yeah, sounds familiar to you? This is what you were doing with your audience with Plattner. And to so quickly try to, reverse it onto them, it goes to show the projection that independent media has now that they have gotten their hands dirty more than once too. Something I wanted to bring up, maybe I'll find the clip, is that when and this gets back to this question of healthcare, right, which we hear mentioned so often, right? This is about healthcare. It's about healthcare. How do we get healthcare to people? When a few years back, when there was an opportunity to block Nancy Pelosi from becoming the House leader, the Democrats could have chose to not vote for her, right? This was a tactic that was proposed because if they did that, they could have forced her to bring Medicare for all to a vote on the Congress floor, right? Okay. And AOC was being pressured to do this. And Ryan Grimm interviewed AOC, and he asked her about forcing the vote. And AOC just straight up lied and said that it was impossible, that it was not actually possible, that people had a fundamental misunderstanding of how this could work. And Ryan Grimm accepted that as a truth, right? Then a few years later, the Republicans did exactly what the progressives had been asking the Democrats to do. They they blocked Kevin McCarthy from becoming House Speaker and forced him to give concessions to the more extreme parts of the party. So it completely showed that AOC and Ryan Grimm essentially were colluding to lie to the progressives and get them to calm down and stop asking them to force the vote. So,
but why would they do that though?
well, that's an interesting question. I mean, was it a laziness where Ryan Grimm simply didn't know, or was it something more malicious? I don't know. You see, those questions are hard to answer.
No,
but what I want
is,
to, yeah, go ahead. I just want to point out though that even when it is time to get health care, people like Ryan Grimm are not above either lying or missing the ball. So don't think that's also on the table.
That's exactly my point that I was going to make. Aren't they Democrats and liberals? Don't they want healthcare?
I mean, someone's got to explain it to me because I don't know. I'll find the clip and I'll add it in because it's interesting, right? And it's Ryan Grimm again, who for years has been considered one of the most respected voices in the progressive space. Now he runs something called Dropsite, right? Dropsite is a very respected like newspaper, like online, like blog, right? And he runs this website. And it's very respected when it comes to Middle Eastern news. And he was using it to try to launder Graham Plattner's image, like writing all these puff pieces on Dropsite about Graham Plattner. So
what do you mean launder his image?
Like this, because he was using a website that was mostly known for really honest reporting on like Iran and Palestine to also basically be like, Graham Plattner is a good guy.
Oh, that's so weird to me. Is it just money then?
I don't know. What is it about? Is it about controlling the more extreme aspects of a Democratic Party? Is it about making sure that even the people who are radicals are always controlled, right? Because if you can control someone like Ryan Grimm, if you can make sure that when it's because you got to remember, radicals were pushing to force the vote on Medicare for all. That's when they activated him, right?
That's the weird thing to me. That's the weird thing.
So maybe it's just about putting an ice cube in a soup. Right? Maybe that's the fundamental role that he plays, is to just cool off any real revolutionary energy that might ever happen in this country. Graham Plattner was a poison pill, right? He was meant to compromise all of us.
Who?
Graham Plattner. He was meant to put blood on all of our hands, no?
So they use Ryan Grimm to sort of disguise himself as this liberal who really isn't a liberal at all and is just more like this sense of control, this American imperialist. He's part of the evil empire.
That's what it's looking like, right? I mean, we're getting more and more proof of that. Graham Plattner was a major data point, guys, right? I mean, let's be honest. He showed us a lot.
That to me is always going to be the puzzle in my mind. Is this willful ignorance, or is this a bigger thing going on of just evil? Is it just straight up evil?
That's a good question. All right, let's. I'm gonna stop recording for just a moment to give my computer a second. Here, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving.
All right.
Character personally, in terms of the way that he's acted here, but politics is not a character context. Were this really then? If it was, it wouldn't be good.
Yeah. We wouldn't have Trump as president.
Yeah, I say all of this only to say that the way that CNN did not follow up that question and Politico did not include that detail, that is willful in trying to craft a narrative. That's not what we're supposed to do.
Right.
That's why
they're alleging that the assault story left key details out. But honestly, quite frankly, I more just wanted to show this one line where they say that they say that they're not supposed to willfully exclude key details of a story to try to craft a narrative, even though obviously that's exactly what they did with Plattner. That was the whole point.
Right, so they're just hypocrites.
That they're hypocrites, yes. That's the point. And then we can show, when they interviewed Plattner on this very show, in this very studio, they willfully lied about him being a part of Blackwater. They let him claim that Constellus was different than Blackwater, which it isn't. They did that to willfully craft a narrative around Plattner. So it's just so interesting how you go from 2 days ago, they have their tails tucked between their legs and they're like clearly upset. And then it just took 24 hours for them to be right back to blaming the traditional media for all the same shit that they're doing and all the same lies that they give their audience.
Well, that's my point of how they're claiming their ignorance. They're being like, oh, well, we didn't know the full story. We didn't know what was really going on. We're like, we're playing, we're just the innocent sheep trying to, do our best.
Yeah, there is. I mean, definitely, we saw that. On the majority report, she was literally crying and holding a tissue, and that's hilarious, honestly. And it goes to show the sort of parasocial aspect of it that they are more or less just supporting at this point. And then here, more to that point about the sort of hypocrisy in their words, you have Ryan Grimm getting into even deeper detail, basically being like, blaming Politico for how they covered the story. And I guess that's also the part that I want to highlight, is that Breaking Points is doing 25-minute long videos basically nitpicking the story that they were too afraid to cover or to even tell their audience was probably coming.
I know.
Yeah, Graham, I mean, again, I said it before in our previous block. Take it as a lesson, guys.
Take it as a lesson.
Clean living will get you a clean life. And if you want to run for office,
and I mean, this is not the point, but I totally agree with that. Do not run for office if you do not have a clean past. It's over for you. Do something else, or be honest about it. Something that Plattner did not have the balls to do.
Unless you're Trump or Rich.
Well, sure, but Trump was, I mean, perhaps not honest about it, but he did not masquerade in the way that Plattner did, as if he was some sort of working class, well, not even just working class hero, but like a moral vanguard, which is how Plattner tried to act.
Trump still masquerades himself as some heartfelt Christian who cares about the American people.
Sort of. But for some reason, Trump has a type of secret sauce that Plattner absolutely does not have.
Money.
I mean, Plattner has money.
Not as much as Trump. Trump's a billionaire.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Once again, I posed the question if anybody knows exactly how much money Plattner has. It's probably multi-millions, which is quite a lot.
Final thing, I said it yesterday. That's why I think he's loathsome, because he told people nothing else is coming. And you were rolling around like this 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even 10, 15 years ago, like Lindsey Fifield says.
There could be more that we don't know about.
There could be more that we didn't talk about, and people stuck their necks out for you.
All of a sudden, Ryan Grimm's like, oh, there could be more. It's like, weren't you just saying that this guy enabled you to come out of a closet of some sort? Now it's, who knows what's in his closet? Well, weren't you in his closet not too long ago?
Right? That's so hilarious. It could be more.
It could be more. Now, come to think of it, this guy's a monster. Okay.
I never saw this coming.
But now that I'm thinking about it, who knows what's to come? It's ridiculous.
His handling of all of it is awful. He never allegedly, according to her, he never responded to her message, being like, "Dude, you raped me."
That was a thing.
Come on.
That was a thing that he's knocked for over and over. It's ghosting.
Oh, right. I guess, and I can just explain this. So I thought that this was very interesting, where Lindsey Fifield, who is the person who accused Plattner in the New York Times piece a couple weeks ago, and it was just very quickly, she put out this tweet that was very interesting, where she was alleging that the whole reason why the New York Times didn't run the more damning allegations is because now that the primary has happened, the main Democratic Party fully controls who Plattner is going to be replaced with. But if the full story had dropped 2 weeks ago before the primary, it still would have been a democratic process. So that also goes to show just how corrupt this whole thing is. To try to get people stop falling for what progressive media or traditional media or conservative media, any sort of organized media apparatus is lying to you and has some sort of ulterior motive.
It's all just lies. Are we living in the? Are we just living in the evil empire?
We are, and that's why I prefer to get my news from this guy right here.
Oh, I already know who it is. Bad Empanada.
No, it's not. How dare you?
So joining me now
Someone
is host
far
of the Stephen
better.
A. Smith Show, Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. All these Democrats that stood by Graham Plattner continue to tell us that we should vote for guys like Abdul Al-Sayed in Michigan.
Bad Empanada. What do you think? I'm historically ignorant? I get my news from Stephen A.
I'm beginning to wonder if we shouldn't trust any of their endorsements.
So you see, he's just doing the news every day. It's like, oh, Stephen A. Smith woke up this morning and they're like, Graham Plattner's a rapist. He's like, oh, shit, let me get my shirt. Like, what is going on?
Instead of being like, I don't really want to talk about it.
Yeah, actually, LeBron just got traded today. It's like, no, like this is the big Sports Center news update now.
That also shows you this is a really interesting thing, how powerful charisma is in
Of
America.
course. In America in particular, yes. And
Just
and
like
also
Mr. Bobby
media
Brown.
messaging. That's what we're talking about in general, the media messaging.
How did all of this trouble begin?
Living in America.
Living in America.
Is that the James Brown?
Oh yeah, James Brown. I mean, it's true. When you got charm and charisma,
Someone
everything's
pointed
up.
out in the last video that Stephen A. actually, that's just a show. I don't know if I didn't look into this, if this is true or not. But according to one of the commenters on the last video, Stephen A. Smith just does a show with Bill O'Reilly and Chris Cuomo.
Oh, he does?
That's just their variety politics show. So this is just life now, you know? And then also, to get even deeper in this guy that he's talking to, Will Cain, he got his start on ESPN. So conservative media like a decade ago started saying, shit, you know, if Skip Bayless wants to talk about trans bathrooms, then he has a job here. And now the liberals are doing the same shit, and we get Stephen A. So, basically,
great.
politics is just going to be first take. Politics is going to be like peak first take 2007 in a few years. So,
like around the horn, where they're just giving points to whoever makes the best point, makes the best argument.
yeah, gets to be president at the end. I would love a presidential debate between Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, and it's just at the first take desk, you know?
Oh my god, man. Well, let's see what he has to say.
Let's see
I'm
what
curious.
he says. He's probably gonna, well, given the two clowns that we were just hearing, this is gonna be the most reasonable voice yet.
And I don't blame
You know, honestly, in his defense, he's authentic, so that helps.
Oh, I mean, I honestly do prefer Stephen A. Smith over a lot of the progressive media. And if after all of this happened, you don't agree with that, then, I mean, I don't know. No, he sucks too. I hate him, but I do prefer when he talks. He's a good talker. He's a good talker.
Here and act innocent, Will Cain. I mean, I'm on vacation and all of this stuff. It's good to see my man. I haven't seen you in a while, but you know me. I'm not going to let you sit here and do this one-sided reporting that you're doing right there. When you're talking about the Democrats, I'm not here to defend them. I can't defend that soundbite from Elizabeth Warren. She got to defend that. I can't defend Bernie Sanders defending him. He's got to do that. I can't defend any of the Democrats for sitting up there and defending this man, considering the Nazi tattoo. That should have been enough, personally. Let me be very, very clear, but especially in light of the allegations that came in the aftermath.
Can I just say that's part of why we're talking about gaslighting? Because in any sort of reality, that's why Emma doesn't get to cry. Because in any sort of reality, they had more than enough on this guy. Even Stephen A. Smith is saying so.
Emma is an innocent bystander who fell for the lure of Graham.
Yeah. Okay. So then she's a fool. Let's keep going.
You so long. So certainly they can't be defended. But Will Cain is not going to sit here at 4 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time and act like the Republicans haven't tried to defend people in the past. Don't get me started with Roy Moore, the Senate candidate out of Alabama in 2017. Don't get me started.
He's knowledgeable, Stephen A. Smith. I thought he just knew basketball, but
no,
he's preaching truth.
I'd take him over Sam Cedar. Let's end though. Honestly, let's and I, you know, if you're watching this, just watch the whole Bad Empanada video if you're interested in all this stuff, because it's insane. This is worth seeing. This is worth seeing all. I would tell you too, watch this whole video because it is crazy.
And I wanted to cover that here. Like, they're desperately trying to rewrite the history of this whole thing. So the way that, like, Hassan, who was one of the greatest supporters of Graham Plattner, has been dealing with this, has been to try and reframe the issue with his support of Plattner from him just so willingly ignoring the 5 tours of him mass murdering foreigners into being an issue of him like having a sort of racial blind spot where he failed to listen to Black American creators who got bad vibes from Graham Plattner because he's like a stereotypical like white masculine figure.
Yeah, I think honestly that's already like a huge point here. That like that's like half of the issue is that a lot of the people who fell for Graham Plattner, what they're trying to say now is, I should have listened to my black allies who were warning me that this guy looked a lot like a white supremacist. So they're trying to erase Bad Empanada. They're trying to erase anyone who was criticizing Graham Plattner for being like violent imperialist. No, it wasn't that. It was that he looks like he's an American History X. He looks like he's a neo-Nazi, so we should have seen it coming.
Yeah. I honestly don't even know what to say about that.
I think some of that though is because we're Americans, so it's just very hard to see how all of this happens, because it's within this is what American propaganda is, which is to filter everything through race politics and through, an identity lens. So that's why, that's what they rely on after something like this drops. Let's see exactly how this is actually playing out.
US military. He's trying to reframe it as maybe I had like a racial blind spot. Maybe I should have listened to Black Americans like FD Signifier. So he went and watched like the FD Signifier video that we already went on this channel, where FD Signifier adopted like most of my positions, except the anti-US military one, of course, and acted like he was against Graham Plattner and he had him pegged the entire time. Hassan has also just been like trying to reframe his support of Plattner in really slimy ways. Like he posted saying, for example, I've never asked anyone to donate to Plattner, nor have I campaigned with him. What is this hallucination? Like he's trying to change the terms of what the problem actually was. Yeah, you didn't campaign with him, but it was because they didn't want you to campaign with him, not because you didn't want to. He would have campaigned with him. But obviously Maine is a red state, and Fight Agency decided that...
And then here you have this person in the comments showing thumbnails that Hassan's official channel put, making Graham Plattner seem like some awesome hero.
I know. That's crazy.
And then they so quickly, they just, whatever they can nitpick and hold on to, then they just say that. Because then their most ravenous fans just run with it and they get to move forward.
That's just crazy how spineless some people can be.
It's very similar to when we talked about Christian Zionism in the last video. You mentioned something along the lines of like, well, what's the logic? Like, what even is the Christian Zionist logic? And it's that there is no logic, is that there are results that they want to achieve, and whatever they have to say so that you allow them to exist, they will do. And that's the same thing with people like Hassan. It's like Hassan isn't following any principle. He's following whatever will allow him to survive in this space where he gets to make millions of dollars and he gets to be one of the most influential men in America. That's logic.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. It just, I mean, like, it like causes like a sort of hole in my heart to hear things like that. Like these people are just so obsessed with status and power and money that they're like, we have no values.
I agree, man. And that's why with Plattner in particular, I feel like, we probably won't cover it again unless something really big happens, because like at a certain point it's beating a dead horse, and it's like we're going to move on. When these people continue to show their hypocrisy, we'll talk about it. But it's like, what else is there to say except that now and don't fall for it again. If don't ever believe Hassan again. Don't ever believe Sam Cedar. You got to take everything they say with a grain of salt. And, obviously that includes what we're saying. But I do think that there is a level of analysis here where you can realize that there is no economic incentive to lie to you that we have. Some of this has to do with proximity to power, right? Which is something that Hassan and Sam Cedar have. And going back to the conversation about why would Ryan Grimm mislead his audience about Medicare for all? Because of money and power, right? There's a simple answer, right? It's just brutally depressing.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it's just it's really that simple and evil, and I think as a citizen we want to believe that there's more to it. We want to believe that no, these people do care about us and they do want change and they do have values, but maybe Graham Plattner is a great example of these people don't care about us. They don't care about the little people. All they really care about is making sure that when they wake up, they got that Lamborghini in the backyard, and that they have a nice house, they have that $1 million paycheck, and they'll say whatever it takes to keep that.
Oh yeah, and it's within their interest for the average person to not have a good intuition, because if you have a good intuition, then you need them less, and you're also harder to trick. So they have no incentive to let you know that Graham Plattner is a flawed person, from the very beginning. They instead, just like the caller on Sam Cedar's show, they want you to be that type of emotionally weak person who conflates their reality with this guy who isn't even a working class person. But that's what they want. That's the point, is to get you to start making those connections. But the caller said, even more than the policy, I resonated with who he was as a person, but he doesn't even know who he is. It's a complete lie. So exactly. It's so unfortunate and it's so malicious. You know?
It's just a matter of deception, really.
Whenever anyone brought up what Graham Plattner did to foreigners, he would just scream at them. Like, probably the worst thing that he did in that regard was outright saying that he can forgive what Graham Plattner did because it was to
We've
foreigners,
seen this clip
because
before.
it was in service as
character of Graham Plattner. I don't care about the things that he's done unless it's like literally irredeemable. I think he's done irredeemable shit in service. And even then, I'm willing to overlook the irredeemable, possibly irredeemable things he's done in service. Okay? I'm saying chatters are not understanding what you're saying. No, I think they're understanding it.
So the line isn't him mass murdering foreigners. The line is rather that he raped a white American woman. Is that really it? Is that really where you draw the line? No. No, that's not where they draw the line at all. I honestly don't think they care. What I think happened here is the rape story is a death knell for his campaign, and they recognize that, whereas they know that Americans don't give a shit that he killed foreigners. So they didn't give that any water because they don't care about foreigners. They don't want to change the perceptions of Americans to care about foreigners. But they know that that sort of allegation, like a credible rape allegation, will kill his campaign, so they jumped off ship. I don't think they genuinely care at all. And I called this before. I called this multiple times before this actually came out.
He did call him multiple times. And, if you're interested, watch this video. We won't, give him his view because it's totally worth it. And if you do want to be ahead of the curve a little bit and you want stories about the news that are based in real historical analysis, I would suggest listening to this guy. And, take that suggestion for what it's worth. But he was absolutely correct about the Graham Plattner story. And let me ask you, Benji, before we sound off on Plattner for a while, is there anything that you feel that has been left unsaid or anything like that?
For me, like I said, it creates a hole in my heart to see. It's like you said, it's not even a matter of that they cared. I mean, I hope it's not true. But what he's claiming is that it's not even a matter of that they really necessarily care that he raped the woman. It's more of they've realized this guy can no longer provide us any sort of results, so we're abandoning ship. It's not, oh, we think he's a bad person now. Oh, we just realized that he is a monster. It's more like, oh, this ship has sunk. We're on to the next one where we're going to make money because we're just like these cockroaches. We're just like these fucking spineless, no value, terrible people who just care about a paycheck, just care about status, just care about power. But, I hope it's not true. Maybe I'm just being cynical.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that this moment makes that feel possible, and at the very least, they have created a scenario. The progressive left have created a scenario where all of those questions are reasonable to ask, and that's what they've allowed. And I'll tell you that it's also, it's depressing and it's upsetting for me as well, but I'm happy that he got exposed because I think that this particular lie is going to be harder to run. And I'm hopeful that anybody, even if you did support Plattner, you live, and if you do live in America, you live in a very influential country, and it's not too late to start actually looking past this. As we talked about in previous videos, when you asked me what is there to do, I told you that we have to start looking past the system, because only when we start to think past the false choices that are presented to us, only then will we start to have ideas that are actual alternatives to this bullshit that we're supposed to accept. And Graham Plattner became a perfect case study for that. So I think that it's depressing, but in that kind of sadness, there is hope. There's a hope that now maybe there will be people who wake up to that we can do a lot better than Graham Plattner.
That's true. And, I encourage the audience. I want to know your opinion. I want to know what you think about all this in terms of what you think is going on with the political powers, with the media. What do you think are their intentions? This could be seen as a beam of hope.